Hello, and welcome to my first ME3210 project. I'm proposing a umbrella backpack. Basically, the existing product is a backpack, and the addition will be a deployable umbrella that, depending on when the user wants it to, it can kind of fold up and deploy and be collapsed down. This is more of a synthesis between two products, but I believe it could be very helpful, and it was like a concept that I thought of for even taking this class. Um, it's kind of the need for the umbrella backpack. Um, if you're like myself, I often will forget to bring my umbrella or forget to check the weather, so I might end up going to lecture soaking wet, which is not fun for anyone. Um, so this design is extremely convenient. Um, as long as you remember your backpack, you're not going to forget the umbrella. It's also a lot more ergonomic and easier to use than a typical umbrella. It frees up your hands so you can, text a buddy or watch TikToks on your way to class and still be safe from the rain. Um, and I think it just greatly enhances the existing utility of a typical backpack. You can see this concept art right here that was generated with ChatGPT. Um, I was surprised that there's already some existing market competition. I've never seen anyone using any of these. This German company, Hamaker Schlemmer, has a design, but it's not like deployable and undeployable. It's just like always the umbrella is always out. So I think this is kind of a drawback because a lot of times when I would just want to use the backpack by itself, this company Zpacks basically just has like an adapter that you can use to attach it to your backpack, and it kind of holds the umbrella for you, which I think does have some merit. But I don't think it's as easy to use and um, integrated into the backpack as my design. I think the biggest competition is this company Ghost Shelter. Um, I just really like the design they went with, and it does seem like a very good design. Um, their price point was very high though, so I think they could be competed with. So this is the design I came up with. There's basically three shafts that kind of deploy in a telescoping mechanism. This first shaft has around a diameter of 1 inch, while this last shaft has a diameter of 0.6 inches. And each um, shaft has a length of around 6 inches. These dimensions could kind of change. And in a final design, this canopy, for instance, is only around like 6 inches in diameter, which I think is a little too small for like a personal umbrella. Um, but I think I can't make it too much bigger because it does have to like fit within the backpack even when it like folds up. That design part of the design needs to be optimized. There's also the ribbing beneath the canopy. So here's animations showing the deployment of the umbrella. One aspect I forgot to mention is rectangular cutout at the bottom, which is the unlocking mechanism, which would basically be integrated with like a pull tab into the umbrella, so the user can like either pull or push the tab to lock or unlock the folding or deployment of the umbrella. So there's a couple different materials I would use for this. For the umbrella shaft, I think steel or fiberglass would be the two candidates. Steel is a little more expensive than, or fiberglass is a little more expensive than steel. Um, but I think it is like the right material to use. Um, it's a little more like robust and like wouldn't corrode as much, and it's also like a lot more lightweight, which would be very important for the design. Um, the umbrella ribbing would also be fiberglass. That's kind of like a standard design. Um, the canopy would be made with a material called pongee, which type of it's like a high quality polyester. Um, it is a little more expensive than using something like nylon, but nylon is a little less waterproof. And like one of the big things we want to avoid is getting water into the backpack itself. Um, so for the manufacturing processes, the shafts will be pretty straightforward. For steel, extrusion or drawing. Um, one or the other, or like a mix and match. I think drawing might be a little less energy intensive because you don't have to like heat up the material like you do in extrusion. Um, but for using a fiberglass shaft, I would use a specialized process called pultrusion, which is basically like extrusion, but you pull the fiberglass through like a liquid resin, and that resin would harden into like a reinforced material. The ribs, there wouldn't be like too much like machining or manufacturing. It would be like grooved, then manually attached to the shaft. Then the canopy would also need to be hand cut and sewn onto the ribbing. Both of these things would be kind of increase the labor, make it more of a labor intensive process which would increase the cost, which is definitely a drawback. So in terms of advantages, the synthesis of two popular products, I think, does increase the ergonomics and ease of use of a typical backpack. Not making it hands free, and easy to deploy and walk around with. Uh, I think 33 million umbrellas were sold last year, and like over 150 million backpacks were sold. So obviously we wouldn't get that many sales, but even a small fraction of that market would be very profitable. I don't see a lot of competition in this market besides the ones I've shown, which don't seem to be that popular. And with a strong design, there's a lot of potential to corner this market. Some of the disadvantages, like I mentioned, some of the material costs and just kind of the labor that goes into producing this would result in a high cost, which would kind of hurt our ability to get into this market and kind of corner the market. There's some things like being able to use the product in the wind. But I think this is kind of like a drawback of an umbrella in general. And I think the biggest one is kind of the space constraints and like the general process of including this in a backpack. I didn't really like include the backpack in my design since it's like an add-on. But making sure the space constraint, having actual enough space to store the things you want to store in your backpack while including the little space for the umbrella, and also kind of waterproofing where the umbrella would deploy into. Those would be two very big challenges. The resources I use, just some websites and articles about kind of specific knowledge about umbrella manufacturing, the textbook for this course, ChatGPT for the concept art, and SolidWorks for training the design. Thank you for watching.